Okay, so week 9 concluded in the books, and we got a ton of great plays this week, and there were some cool games, but overall, it was another good week. So let's get right into it.
I'm gonna do it, man!
Do my eyes deceive me? The New York Jets playing a complete-ish football game for their standards. Because let's take a chill pill here. If the Jets were actually playing a healthy Texans team, they'd get demolished. I'd bet my liver on that. But they still aren't healthy, so, you know, go them. But the entire first half of this game, and damn near most of the second half, was your routine Thursday night game. We got ourselves a Thomas Morstead masterclass as Al Michaels slowly considers giving in to chronic alcoholism more and more. Like, I can't really underestimate how boring this game was. The Discord chat was just talking about universal healthcare. It was that bad. But just when you're thinking about giving up, Jets buffoonery is there for the save. Malachi Corley had a Deshaun Jackson whoopsie right after Kyle Pitts almost had one last week, but despite these mistakes, the Texans are just a fractured team right now, and they couldn't win this game. They're just one of the most injured teams in football in the most injured division in football, and losing Will Anderson in this game just makes things so much more grim. The pass rush looked dead as hell without him, and on the other side of the ball, the Texans O-line just isn't real. Like, can you fat block another fat please? Stroud is nowhere near blameless in all of this, but I've kind of become captain of the CJ Stroud is overrated fan club accidentally, so I'm gonna chill on him for a second. He was still solid, because Titus Howard and Laramie Tunsil have been struggling to an unacceptable degree, while the other guards have been worse. Kenyon Green is now out for the year too, but that damn near might be an upgrade, because he was a stinky boy when he was playing. But yeah. Aaron Rodgers just played a good football game, and add that on to one of the greatest catches ever. I think he caught it, but who cares? I guess the cool factor takes precedence, but you know, the Jets managed to save their season. Whether you believe in it or not, they're still alive, and they ended up getting 8 sacks on CJ Stroud and are back in Super Bowl contention. We all believe in the Jets now, right? I mean, this team has zero flaws whatsoever, and they do have one out, though. They have to exactly run the table, or else they're just omega f***ed. But, you know, I guess it can happen. If last week wasn't the funeral for the Dolphins against the Cardinals, Buffalo just dug up their corpse and dissected it for a science experiment. It's over. Get ready for the Dolphins to just blow it up any day now, because Calais Campbell has no reason to waste his time on this team, because the Dolphins had zero business losing this game. How are you guys not motivated in this? I don't understand. Do you care? Your season is on life support, and yes, you're very injured, but this defense was still solid-ish for most of the year, and they ended up giving up points on every single drive to the Bills, except for the one where Keon Coleman just dropped it into Jalen Ramsey's hands. And it's so funny, because the Bills were also just f***ing themselves in the mouth. They had multiple touchdowns called back by penalties, missed an extra point, and they just didn't have an answer for Miami on offense. Tua played great, an amazing game from Tua, but, you know, with that being said, I don't understand. The over-reliance on Devon Achane is just too much. Mike McDaniel just treats the guy like he's Christian McCaffrey, and they're clearly trying to hide Tua, which I just don't understand. This offense was near unstoppable last year, and who knows? If they had a home playoff game in Miami instead of the Ice Bowl, maybe the Dolphins go on a little run with some health luck. Who knows? But I'm still just confused as to why the Dolphins' offense is functioning closer to how it looked with Pro Bowl sensation Tyler Huntley than how it looked last year. But the Bills also just couldn't stop the run in this game, which resulted in the fourth quarter being a great time. Miami had a great drive that ended in an Achane touchdown, and some great plays by Tua that was immediately answered by an even more impressive drive and Josh Allen doing Josh Allen things. Then, boom, Miami's right back with the ball down the field, and Waddle decides to not completely f*** me in fantasy and scores. So now, it was Josh Allen legacy time, and it was looking good for the Dolphins until once a Bill, always a Bill, I guess. I don't know. Jordan Poyer decided to remain loyal to the soil and kept the Bills in it in regulation, setting up Tyler Bass, who was damn near on the street 2 weeks ago and almost lost his job, now kicking a 61-yard field goal for damn near his entire career in the NFL. And he made it. Dolphins lose, Bills win, division is a wraps. And It's over for you, Miami. There's no way out of this. Your season has just been tanked due to injuries, and you can't get out of this hole. It's really unfortunate still. Like I said last week, this shouldn't happen to you, but you know what? The NFL isn't fair. Better luck next year, I guess. Play calling, players, defense, offense. Joe Burrow's good. Is that enough for you? Can I be freed of my shackles? Can I stop talking about this football team for the rest of the year? Please. Let me be happy. I'm running out of things to say. Minshew actually played pretty well, but Joe Burrow literally did whatever he wanted when he wanted. We limited the big play potential of Jamar Chase in the offense. Fine. Joe will just dink and dunk his way to 5 touchdowns and make this game not even a little bit close. And a Luke Getsy classic reverse sweep to future All-Pro DJ Turner ends the game, and Gardner Minshew got benched for like the 7th time this season. Dysfunction is the name of the game, folks, and by golly, have we mastered it. But hold on a second, let me double check this. Is that a Titans and Panthers win this week? Is that what I saw? Tankathon has us in it for the first overall pick, except there's one problem. One major issue with this. Luke Getsy is gone, which is like, good, I think. I don't know, it's good for my mental health, but Jesus, man, we might win like 5 games now, which is kind of an issue. I mean, you can't get worse play calling than that. It is impossible. So, the bad man is gone, but at what cost? I would have liked for him to just finish the tank job, because we got... I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty pissed off at the Giants. I think that this is a pretty underrated football team. Now, any team with a generational wide receiver prospect and damn near a top 10 player in football period in Sexy Dexy is a good candidate for that, but guess what? You didn't have a positive passing yard at halftime, which would have been, I guess, explainable if Tyron Tracy had like 130 yards, but he didn't. The only guy who could get anything going was Chris Manhertz. I mean, his name pretty much says all that needs to be said about this game and the offense, but yeah, Daniel Jones is not the guy. I don't know what else to say. Did you think that he was going to revert back to his Pro Bowl form for like 5 games a few years back? Because he didn't, and sadly, this team is going to be competing with the Raiders for Cam Ward or Shadar Sanders. Who knows, though? Maybe they'll stick with Daniel Jones. That'd be hilarious, but I'm hoping they're going to be somehow good enough to lumber to like 6 wins, which could be a little too good to compete with the Minshew magic that we got going on. And overall from this game, I still wasn't that impressed with the Commanders. I would have liked for them to just absolutely slaughter the Giants in the way that Philly did, and they just consistently are flashing contender red flags, but whatever. A win is a win. They're 7-2 and have basically clinched the playoffs, so that's all you need to know, is that Jayden Daniels can throw them balls.
Might get a little hungry.
Hey, have you seen this catch by Rico Dowdle? It was pretty cool. Yeah, that's all I got. That's all I got positive for Dallas. Dak got hurt, and this defense would have massive issues for most college offenses without Micah Parsons, and just tuning in for any Cowboys game should make it instantly apparent that this team is coached abnormally terribly. And I'm a Raiders fan. So many penalties, mismanaged plays, and just everyone's on a different page. So Mike McCarthy better enjoy that free food that he gets as a head coach for now, because mark my goddamn words, next year this human beaver is going to be arguing with Rex Ryan on ESPN, and I am so certain about that. But hey, Cowboys fans, also you got to see what a somewhat real NFC team looks like. So there's that. The Falcons aren't Super Bowl contenders by any means, but the offense still gets the job done. What else can you say? I mean, anything on the offense that you could say negative is kind of a nitpick. Yes, it's the Cowboys, but they just keep doing whatever they want. 150 total yards for Bijan was good work, and although the score of the game of 21-27 seems close, trust me, this game wasn't close at all. Kirk Thuggins is balling, the defense is meh, but whatever. Maybe they'll trade for a dude to help out soon.
Count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience.
Browns fans, have you considered getting into morphine? I'm not saying do it, okay? But I mean, look, this is still not a diss at Jameis. I don't want it to come off that way, but it's more of a whole season plus next season outlook. And the next one. And the next one. And the next one. Now, this isn't the time or place for a Deshaun Watson rant thing, where I just talk about how your cap salary situation is, but I'll summarize it for you. Your window is closed, and all you're doing for the rest of this year is wasting Myles Garrett's Hall of Fame career. So Good work, because this game was Chargers domination. The Browns basically opened the game by blowing 2 coverages, and the Chargers kind of just coasted from there. And as I said last week, you know how it goes. Jameis giveth, and Jameis taketh away. Like, damn near the first play of the game was the most Jameis play ever. Dude threw it right to him, but hey, Jameis ball is still a roller coaster as always. You knew this was coming, so either learn to live with the pain or just find a way to numb it, Browns fans, because shit is getting progressively worse by the day.
No, not exactly. I would go so far as to call that just being misinformed.
Uh-oh. Lamar did it again. He dropped that thing on the table. This game was over pretty quickly when Bo Nix threw a pick on the first play, damn near, but they sort of hung in there for a second, Denver did, but yeah, shockingly, Bo Nix, as a struggling rookie, can't keep up with prime Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. I know, bring out the pitchforks, what a hot take there, but let me just take a second to talk about how f***ing good Lamar Jackson is at football. Brother just had another perfect passer rating, and nobody really cares, because he just does this, and this was against an elite defense. It's f***ing legendary, the things Lamar Jackson is doing weekly, and we just cannot take this for granted, dude. We are in the midst of watching the prime of one of the greatest quarterbacks this game will ever see by the time he calls it a career. And he's been the best quarterback in football again this season with nobody really coming all that close. But yeah, tough matchup for Denver, though. This was a team with a good offense in Baltimore and a bad defense, which is just not their ideal matchup. And promptly Denver got blown out. So, routine stuff. This was your last chance, New Orleans. All you had to do was go out there and beat the worst team in professional sports, and instead, they bent you backwards, gave you a good spanking, and then shoved their fists up your rectum. I can't believe it. You lost to the f***ing Panthers. Oh. This is one of the worst losses of the season for any football team, but maybe there was some foreshadowing for all of this. Chris Olave went down with his 8th concussion of the season, and I guess we should have seen it coming then. This defense is done. Bryce Young was actually moving the ball down the field with Xavier Legette and Jalen Coker as the only somewhat warm bodies at will sometimes. And as displayed by the Bears last week, apologies are always a sign of pure decay from within, and along with Michael Thomas rants on Twitter, we got that. Oh, what the fuck? And it's just so much worse than that, too. Look at the differences in the stat sheet. The Saints outgained them by damn near 200 yards and lost. They didn't even turn it over either. Apparently that's the first time that's happened since like 1970, so cool, nice work. And yeah, they then allowed basically a game-winning drive by Bryce Young, already a crime against football. And clearly, you don't test Michael Jackson, the shutdown corner, and get away with it. He's as elite as they come. But hold on, I guess they fired Dennis Allen, which, similar to the Luke Getsy thing, of course he needed to be fired. He was terrible, but well, this might help win you games too. But also, do you hear that? Do you hear that? That's the sounds of the tank rolling through. The Raiders tank is in full effect, baby. That's a Panthers win. Let's go. 2 wins for the Panthers, and they beat us too. I feel good about this number 1 pick at this point. Let's just hope the Saints aren't also competing with us, because they might be. Well, that was a football game, to some extent. Drake Maye, with basically the most untalented offense in the NFL and the worst O-line in football, had to duke it out with the worst team in the NFL, and it was appropriately boring. I mean, for 4 quarters, it was just the Tony Pollard show, and that was kind of it, but that last couple seconds, I mean, that was pretty sick, right? Drake Maye made one of the best plays all season and somehow found Ramondre Stevenson to force overtime. A very well-deserved touchdown for Ramondre, who left it all on the line for a whopping 14 rushing yards. And in overtime, the Titans got the coin toss and inched closer and closer with more run plays because, remember, these 2 teams are terrible, and only managed a field goal, which allowed Drake Maye to have a chance to go down and get a legacy drive. But his confidence was probably a little bit too high because of that last touchdown, but maybe his energy wasn't, because the dude was running around way too much, and I don't know, that last drive he kind of looked a little bit gassed to me, and definitely got a little overconfident and threw a pick to ice the game. Titans win. The Titans have 2 wins now. Oh my god, it's all coming together. We got the #1 pick. We're there. We're right there. Just keep losing games, boys. Stay focused on that prize. You love to see it. You love to see Titans and Panthers wins. What a beautiful week this was. The Salem witch trials didn't go far enough. This entire Bears coaching staff needs to burn. Everyone is to blame, from the head coach down to the ball boy. This is coaching malpractice. I will bet my bank account and my right nut on Caleb Williams being good. When you see plays like this as a rookie, I mean, how can you not? But Shane, please do not ruin this man's career. I am begging you, don't do this to Caleb. Don't do it. Sorry, Tom, that was unprofessional. Alright, so I just decided to go to a random-ass drive in this game, just to give you a small glimpse into what's going on in Gooberland in Chicago. Here we are in the red zone, with a chance to get a touchdown. You know, that's cool, we take those, and some momentum versus Arizona could be gained back if they, you know, get in the end zone. So on first down, the Bears run the same play they ran at the end of the Commanders game, which failed, by the way. The only reason it sort of worked was because there was a flag then, but it failed here too. So, okay, we got some time to think. Probably want to use some extra protection with a back or something to allow Caleb to find a shallow crosser or an out route for like 4 yards, or we could throw a fade out of bounds. Terrible throw, terrible call, so okay, fine. It's now third down. We've gained a net total of 0 yards, and now we need the best play you got in your 3-page playbook full of nothing but naked pictures of DeAndre Swift, Shane Waldron. What do you got? He calls another fade. No, I'm not joking you. And I know I'm being somewhat harsh and probably a little dramatic, but you have to remember, this is an absurdly talented roster. And as the Bears know from 2017, where they went on their legendary Super Bowl run with Mitchell Trubisky and Cody Parkey, your window with a young quarterback is not as big as you think it is. You don't have that much time before you have to pay Caleb Williams, so you cannot waste rosters like these, even just for a little bit of a playoff run. This is just terrible coaching. They were also casually coming off of the most devastating ending to a game possible. So to go out there and just let James Conner run your team over like he was prime Earl Campbell for a steamy 3 hours straight is just unacceptable. It just is. So yeah, they got blown out. And I guess the Bears are just taking the mantle from the Falcons and Saints last year. This team is just too easy to rant on, but man, do I love watching them. It's a fun time. I can't lie. It's good entertainment, but look, I wasn't tripping last week because I thought the Bears would just bounce back and they'd be fine, but no, this coaching is scary terrible. And remember, this is a team that has the hardest schedule in the entire league for the rest of this season. They might not even break 6 wins, so all of a sudden this was a team that was kind of like damn near a playoff lock for me, and now they're f***ed. I don't see another way out of it. And if they lose to the Patriots next week, don't even get me started, dude. I'm breaking a monitor. Nothing less.
Took DJ Douglas out of his cleats here.
Oh! Whew. Man, the Eagles had a chance to do something really funny there for a second. Before the game, I thought this was going to be an Eagles breakout game. They were going to put a defensive clinic on Jacksonville and curb stomp them into the ground. And it was happening for like a few minutes there. Saquon Barkley is such a big, strong man with big, strong thighs, and he made a big, strong play with literally one of the best highlights you'll ever see. My man got clipped here, but even after a 20-yard interception performance in the first half for Trevor Lawrence, the Eagles started to crumble and let him and the Jags offense back into the game. Now, Trayvon Walker also had a weird fumble return for a touchdown, which stood? Wait, it stood? Are you serious? I mean, I guess, whatever. I'm all for it. Let's have the Eagles blow this. Fuck it, why not? But unfortunately, for the good of all of our entertainments, Devonta Smith is really, really good at football and also made one of the craziest catches of the year. It was a wild week for crazy catches too, by the way. I mean, you can agree on that, right? The best play pull is about to be crazy, but In the end, though, the Jags came up just short, and Trevor Lawrence kind of just ran out of weapons and threw up a 50-50 ball for Dearness Johnson. It's come to that. I don't know what else to say. I'm a little disappointed that the Eagles didn't just blow them out, and they ended up getting bailed by their high-end talent. Again, this team is also poorly coached, and it honestly feels like that it's going to cost them in the playoffs, but who knows? A win is a win. But I can't keep saying this. You can't keep getting away with it. Oh my god. They fucking mauled them. This was supposed to be the game of the week. But I guess I understand why they didn't put it on Sunday Night Football now. Christ. Two contenders were supposed to be locked into a duel, throwing wallops of a punch, only to have a knuckle sandwich returned right back at them. But, unfortunately for the Packers, they didn't consider David Montgomery. And the Lions thrive in the cold with Dan Campbell screaming and yelling and being a man, and add in Tom Brady on the call, and oh, that's just... that's too much testosterone in one arena of battle. And to be honest, the Lions just made less mistakes in an ugly weather game. That's kind of why they won. And they just seem to have the perfect play call ready for any situation with amazing personnel. Like, the fourth down pass to Amon-Ra was so crisp. And to have a guy like Amon-Ra on your team who just will never drop anything in crucial moments is one of the 17 reasons for why this team is the best in the NFL right now. They just need to not let it happen again. I mean, this was a statement win and a half. They kicked Green Bay's ass in their own backyards, in Lambeau weather. The only way the Lions lose in the playoffs this year, to me, is either A, they get injuries to even more key players, or B, they fuck themselves repeatedly. Because when the Lions are at their best, and especially in the playoffs, if they get home field advantage throughout the postseason, nobody can hang with them. It's that simple. This team is so good, it's dumb. And the Packers didn't even play anywhere near close enough to be able to beat Detroit, with Love's second massive oopsie of the year basically ending the game. So, back to the drawing board, Green Bay. You'll get another chance at redemption, though. Wow, this is one of those games that you don't really think anything about. You know, Seahawks-Rams, it happens twice a year. It's usually kind of boring, but this is going to be a game that isn't really talked about, but this might damn near be my favorite game of the entire season when it's over. It was just so hype. Yes, there was ref ball, but this game had one thing that I love about football in general. It had a central theme, and that beautiful motif was simply, how many times can the Seahawks shit themselves before their bridges overflow and they bleed to death due to internal injuries? This team is just fascinating. I don't know. They somehow just keep doing this. The Seahawks aren't even that bad. It's just that they make being mid look so painful. We got some Seattle staples like drop snaps and a terrible pick, but the Rams were matching Seattle's freak. Puka Nacua, old buddy, old pal. After I benched your ass last week, you come out here and drop a one bomb before throwing a punch and getting kicked out of the game? I mean, clap it up for the boy. Good shit. So yeah, the Rams had a chance to take control of the game, but they made some whoopsies as well. After the Seahawks dropped a free pick, they got something going with JSN, and then, a little while later, it would begin. The first of like 14 chances the Seahawks had to end this game. Finally, the Seahawks got inside the 5 with the ball and could score to take control. But no. Geno throws a pick 6 and allows one of the longest plays in NFL history. Okay, well, whatever. The Seahawks then proceeded to block a punt, because that clearly happens all the time, right? Alright, sure, whatever. Another red zone chance. Let's do it. What happens next, you may ask? Well, another pick, Geno. What is wrong with you? God damn it, man. The Rams then go 3 and out because, unironically, this has been one of the best games Seattle's defense has played all year, and damn, they finally got there. It took a few chances, like way too many, but Jackson Smith-Njigba is a guy who's going to be the new Tyler Lockett in Seattle for a long, long time, and dropped a near 200-yard masterclass in this game. And after an almost huge error because of penalties, we ended up going to overtime anyways, and with the Seahawks winning the coin toss, Seattle's fate was in their own hands. Alright, Seahawks, please don't do this to me. I'm not even a Seahawks fan, but I don't know, dude. It's just, I feel like I see too much Raider in them, and it just makes me feel uncomfortable. But they had a good drive, they were near scoring range, and that's when McDonald and the squad decided to gamble. 4th down and 1. Time for your best play call. These are downs teams like the Chiefs and Lions simply just convert on, but the Seahawks blew it again. They lost yardage to K9, and now you've done it. Matthew Stafford, you're going to give him a chance in crunch time? You might as well just leave the stadium, because he engineered a beautiful drive, feasting off of Tariq Woolen, who kind of forgot how to play football and took advantage of mistake after constant mistake for 4 quarters, including a crucial missed PAT for a one-handed DeMarcus Robinson walk-off touchdown. Rams win. Amazing football game. But Rams, this was a win that you absolutely needed. This team is just back. I don't know what else to say. They've reeled off 3 wins in a row, yes, in unconvincing fashion, but once again, they did beat the Vikings in there, so I guess we'll be able to figure out where they stand when they play against the Niners again or some other really good team, because this team has all the pieces to be good. They just need to keep putting it together and hope that the defense can hold on, because Stafford, Kupp, and Puka have the ability to keep up with any offense, as we know.
I have seen things you wouldn't believe. I have lost things.
Oh no, this is kind of what I thought was going to happen, but it's really sad that this had to happen on national TV in front of everyone. Now people are going to think Joe Flacco's terrible. He's clearly not, he's elite, but yeah, I don't know what else to say. This was a really tough matchup for Joe Flacco, I guess. In his defense, Brian Flores and the Vikings are the best defense in the NFL right now, but God, dude, Joe Flacco was so bad in this game. He was so bad. He was missing so many routine throws, and it was not a good watch. And now you've got people just being like, hey, maybe Anthony Richardson should be back. And, you know, it would be hilarious if the Colts were just like, hey, you know what, we're going back to AR. We made a mistake. But yeah, this game was only close because of the defensive touchdown. That was literally it. The Colts offense couldn't do anything, and Sam Darnold couldn't do anything for 3 quarters too, but eventually he ended up getting things going because turns out Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson, and Justin Jefferson, and Aaron Jones in the pass game are all elite options, and in the end, yeah, the Vikings are just the better team, and they ended up outlasting them. But let's not forget that Joe Flacco had more chances, even in the 4th quarter, and I still held out hope. Here I was, 14 minutes left in the 4th, sitting in my chair, uncomfortably flaccid, and ready for some Flacco magic. And instead, we got damn near an illegal motion of the biggest play of the game, and he missed a wide open throw. Don't let this happen again, Joe. Do not let it happen again. I want more fun from you. I was ready for a 30-piece from Joe Flacco on Sunday Night Football, and I think most people were, but I don't know. Maybe the lights were a little too bright. Bounce back next week, Joe. Please keep your job.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Well, I did not expect this to be a football game, but man, this was a great one. The Chiefs and the Bucs on Monday Night Football was honestly one of the best games of the entire year, and that's even with Tampa being so heavily injured. But I mean, I think they played an amazing defensive game. The Chiefs offense was still doing well. Travis Kelce was getting his, but just so many guys were getting pressure on Patrick Mahomes over and over again. And throughout the whole season, that hasn't really been a thing that Mahomes has had to deal with. He's had comfortable pockets for the most part, so for the Bucs to be able to get consistent pressure on Mahomes and flush him out of the pocket really kept them in the game. And eventually, Baker Mayfield started getting things going. And then, as the game went on, it looked like the Bucs had a chance because Patrick Mahomes went down with an injury and the entire NFL world froze for a second. But thankfully, our boy Patrick is probably going to be okay. And from there, though, it just kept getting even crazier. We had a back and forth, Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield in 2024 with their leading options being DeAndre Hopkins and Cade Otton going right down the field on each other in the rain. And with the Bucs having the ball in a playoff atmosphere on the road and needing a touchdown, the odds were definitely against them. But Baker Mayfield got it done. With Sterling Shepard as his lead guy, he went down the field and got a touchdown. And the Bucs made a interesting call to go for 1, which, I don't know, me personally, if I'm on the road and we are in a 4-4 scenario that could realistically happen if we lose this game or give the ball to Mahomes in overtime, I would have gone for 2. I would have risked it all. You got nothing to lose, you might as well, but Todd Bowles decided to play it conservative, which isn't the worst call in the world, but unfortunately for him, Patrick Mahomes. So, yeah, Mahomes ended up winning the coin toss, went right down the field, won the game. Chiefs are still undefeated, and still, though, I think Tampa Bay should be proud of that fight. They gave the Chiefs all they had, and they almost pulled out the win, so I don't know. Falcons are kind of pulling away in the division, though. They needed that win bad. But before we go, you know what time it is. It's time for the TubFrog Discord Awards, where I turn to you, the people, to see what you thought were the best and worst plays and players from Week 9. And without further ado, let's begin. Because I asked what the best play from Week 9 was, and we got Saquon Barkley's hurdle taking the win by an absolute massive amount, which is nuts, because like Garrett Wilson's catch would win every other week this entire season, but Saquon made one of the greatest plays we'll ever see, and it probably can't even be replicated again. Humans don't do that. And then I asked what the worst play was from Week 9, and yeah, Geno Smith threw a 100-yard pick six. That's always going to take the dub. But, you know, Corley should be thanking the Lord that he didn't win this one. And then I asked what the best game was from Week 9, and it was looking like it was going to be Dolphins-Bills for a while, but I don't know what else to say. Monday Night Football just keeps delivering, and Chiefs-Bucks was an absolute thriller. And maybe there's some recency bias, but it was a great game. And then I asked what the best player performance was from Week 9, and Lamar Jackson just, he's so good, man. It's dumb. Saquon got a few votes here, but honestly, Lamar should have gotten even more. He literally played a perfect game, and the stat sheet doesn't even reflect how good and valuable he was. And then I asked what the best team performance was from Week 9, and the Detroit Lions. They just went out there and steamrolled the Packers, like they've steamrolled every other team this year, basically. This team they're so good. I don't know how they lose the Super Bowl at this point. And then I asked what the worst individual player performance was from Week 9, and I really wanted Jameis Winston to win this. I feel like it would be perfect if he just won the best player performance last week and then the worst. But yeah, Puka had one catch and then threw a punch and got ejected. So yeah, great stuff for all my fantasy teams. And then I asked what the best epic rap battle of history was. And I guess it wasn't super fair here. You know, I didn't specify which H versus Vader match I went with, but it ended up getting the win anyways. Can't argue with that. So anyways, if you like this video, then subscribe, because I got a lot of videos on the channel just like this one. And if you did like this video, then watch this video I did a few weeks back on Josh McDaniels and his time with the Raiders. It's pretty good, trust me. And thanks to all my Patreons for pledging $1. It truly does mean a lot, but anyways, until next time.